Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Blood, Sweat, and Gear Bodybuilding Podcast. I'm Scott McNally, and I host this program with S2H and Skip Hill. Skip has been a contest prep coach for the last 20 years, meaning he's seen just about anything that there is to see in the sport. S2H is our go-to guy for all the most random and obscure drug questions that you could possibly imagine. Between the two of these guys, I'm confident that we can help you to reach your goals more effectively while staying as safe as possible in the process. Today, we are going to talk about a whole host of things, including Nationals, which just happened. We discuss a little bit about that and about the national qualification system. We talk about ALA, get the guys' thoughts on that, if they think it's worthwhile or not. A little bit of talk about GHB, which, spoiler alert, don't take it. EGFR, that is a kidney value. We discuss where that should be on and off cycle. Yohimbine dosing. We talk about our preferences for pre and intra workout. Guys, all of this and a whole lot more. We're starting it right now. Blood, Sweat, and Gear. Welcome back to Blood, Sweat, and Gear. This program is brought to you by TrueNutrition.com. You can use our code ADVICES. You can buy supplements like this. Boom, look at that. I had it right in my hand. Guys, if you're into bodybuilding and you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, then you can start today by hitting the subscribe and the notification button to follow along with everything that we're doing. What's up, Skip Hill, S2H? We've got all sorts of bodybuilding questions and topics that we're going to cover today. And first of all, I'm dying, so you guys are going to have to carry the show today. That's what this comes down to, just to let you know.
I think we're used to that, Scott. If that's okay.
Well, that's if Skip internet will work. He can.
Well, it took you 4 seconds to get to the internet.
Wait, you know, last show was the highest rated show ever.
No. Yeah, because it didn't happen. Yeah.
Hey, how many people do we have on that Q&A open? Going like 50, 60, 70?
Something like that, I guess. What?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as Skip wasn't there, the questions came pouring in.
We did get a bunch of questions, and then Victoria came and joined us. She hung out.
Yeah,
she answered some questions. She
was kind enough for being smart when we sound really dumb.
Yeah, there is that, but I'm used to that. I'm used to that every time her and I are together. So,
Skip, you should have seen Scott. Victoria came on. She was like dropping like the big PhD words, and he's over there like.
Yeah.
I mean, if he was, I thought he was going to dry hump the mic or the monitor or something. Actually, I was getting embarrassed. He was like, I know. Oh, he's rubbing his nipples. He's like, oh, like a little, like he's like Santa came and dropped him like every present he wanted for 50 years.
Hey, what can I say? Yeah, she did. She was just on Superhuman Radio recently. She also joined us for the Drugs and Stuff podcast, where she did that show for a whole hour. But anyways, what's up, guys?
I think I see some favoritism here. I don't know. I mean, it's like Victoria. Ooh.
Well, you're not as pretty, Skip.
Victoria makes Scott squishy. Ooh.
So listen.
She does sound a lot smarter than we do. I can tell you that for sure.
Listen, I'm not surprised that she came on when I wasn't there. Quite frankly, just because it's a good replacement. I mean, I don't blame her. Fuck. I mean,
so we just Nationals just happened. It's Sunday as we record this. Nationals finished as of like the middle of last night. We have a new national champion, Matt Schmidt. He was the heavyweight division, and a whole slew of pros now. Anybody that you guys knew that was in the contest? Skip, you're like right around the corner. Why didn't you go? That's my first question.
I did go.
Did you really?
No, I didn't actually go to the show. I had some other things. I had some family stuff, that sort of thing. And it's not that I've said before, I'm in a different place. I'm far more excited about competitive bodybuilding, not only with myself, but just getting back into it. And it's a little bit, I guess, fresher to me now, and I enjoy it more. But I'm not terribly excited about shows in general. I did know a lot of people in the show. Yeah.
You want to stop there?
Yeah.
You didn't want to say something disparaging, right?
Well, here's the thing. I know a lot of people, a lot of good people, a lot of people who work real hard, and I just, I don't want to offend anybody, and I don't want anybody to be offended by my opinions. I still stand by the fact, and this is not taking anything away. I mean, the guy that you said that, that one looked great.
Yeah.
The people I know look great. People I didn't know look great, but it's just not, and I stand by this. It's just not the caliber in open bodybuilding that it used to be. I just don't think it is. And I know that some people might say, well, there you go, you're just resentful because you can't compete successfully at that level, whatever, say what you want to say. I feel like I'm just calling a spade a spade. That doesn't mean that the winners aren't good, doesn't mean that I don't think there are good physiques up there, but I just don't think that they're the caliber that they were 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead. I'll take the opposite stance on this one because I think you have a point, but I think you're comparing apples to oranges. It's a different world. It's a different climate. We've got Classic now, which there are some incredible guys that are in Classic Physique that are in a lot of cases, man, they're the guys that have like the real freaky genetics,
I can't disagree with that. I think you're right.
So, but I know what you mean though. I mean, I was just talking to Dave Kalick last night and he was talking about, he just mentioned it too. He was like, oh yeah, I remember the first time I competed with that guy. It was me and him and Paul Dillette, and it was like someone else, and I was like, holy shit. No, it was like, he was talking about DeMeo. That's who it was. And it's like, just thinking of like all these guys that are freaking big names that were all standing up in the same lineup. And that was like junior nationals. You know what I mean? It's like not even for a pro card I hear you, man. I hear you. But I'll tell you what, man, I'm still going to get excited for it. I think there was still some really good dudes. We had done a bunch of interviews for Think Big, and it was cool, man. We got to see a bunch of the guys that we talked to. Like a lot of them, I think all but one made top 5. And the guy, shout out to Doug Froche. I don't believe he did, but I mean, he looked freaking fantastic. But even, who did something badass was Nate Spear. He did.
Yeah.
He didn't talk about it at all. Like, it's funny because he was one of the people I was going to as I was doing this Road to Nationals program. And I was like, hey, Nate, who do you think would be a good guy to talk to? And he was like, oh, you should talk to this guy. And then I go and do an interview with that guy. And then Nate and I are talking. He says, oh, talk to this guy. So Nate's giving me all these suggestions for different people to interview, people who are great competitors who are going into nationals. Turns out Nate was going into nationals. He just kept his mouth shut. He didn't post a single picture up until like 3 days out. That's badass, man. And you know what he said? He said he wanted to do that because he wanted to challenge himself. Because since he's been doing bodybuilding, that's all there's been, has been like the social media push. You get that extra motivation from people, commenting on your pictures. And, it's kind of, I'm sure there's a level of accountability that goes along with that too, He wanted to do it without all that.
I think humility is a scarce commodity in this industry. So good for him. I didn't know that that's what he did, but good for him.
And he took 3rd place, I believe. So
he looked great. His condition was great. He looked great, and you could see the progression over the last day and a half. He came in. I think his guy is Andrew Barry. Andrew Barry. That's where I was going. And they've been together for a while, and I'll tell you, and I don't know if they're friends. I mean, I would imagine there's a relationship. I don't know. That wouldn't be my internet connection. I know that's not you, Scott McNally. What about you, S2H? Truck loading, maybe in the back parking lot, loading dock, something like that. I don't know.
I have him drive by when you talk too much.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure you do. Anyway, well played though.
Got
it. Anyway, back to the point I was making.
Yeah.
Nate and Andrew have been together for a while, and I think that it's important for people to know, and I feel pretty strongly about this. And it's not about me or any particular trainer, but if you want to be successful, obviously you don't stay with a trainer that things didn't work out well with. But you know what? You stick with your trainer. Heath with Hani from the start. Things like that. It's a good idea because they continue to get better. Yeah. It isn't always going to be 100%. And I, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if it was last year, but I think Nate was off last time a little bit. I think I remember him being flat. If I'm wrong, I apologize because I can't be sure of that, but that's what I'm thinking. And if that's the case and I'm right, they have a relationship, whether, it's business / they've also become friends. I don't know, but he obviously trusts him. They have a good working relationship, and they continue to work together, and they got it right. And he continues to get better and better. And I think that's important. If you can stay with your trainer, you're almost certainly going to get better, because they're going to learn that much more about you from show to show. And it makes, the more times you compete, the more you will know, and the less, I don't want to say gamble, but the less, everything is going to be that much more predictable. Yeah. Not just for the trainer, but also peace of mind for the client, knowing what's coming. You know what to expect. You don't have to stress, and you don't have to be anxious about what's going on.
True.
So good for them. Yeah, good for them.
Now take Matt Schmidt, the guy who won. He did not have a coach. He's done it. He said he's had a coach 2 times, but outside of that, he's always coached himself. He said that he makes adjustments on the fly. Like he may adjust it. That's something, I guess, if you have a coach, no matter how close you are to your coach, you're not going to be able to do that, where he'll actually adjust meal to meal and decide like, oh, I think I'm feeling a little bit, whatever, bloated at this point. I'm going to pull carbs back, versus it's harder to do that when you have somebody else steering the wheel. You know what I mean?
Is he older?
Not that much older. I think he's in his 30s, mid 30s, early 30s. So, but he's been doing it for a decade.
I was going to say there has to be a level of confidence there, because there's a lot of people who will listen to this and go, oh, I can do that. Oh, I can do it. Yeah. But no, there's not, because you start second guessing yourself, and you start to, it's that old analogy or that comparison to, well, I'm hungry. I just, I need a load because I'm going catabolic or some bullshit like that. Yeah. You really have to trust your instincts and know what the fuck you're doing to be able to override the psychology of what your brain is telling you versus what your actual physique is telling you. And that's not a very easy thing to do, even for seasoned veterans. That's why you have so many prep guys working with prep guys.
Okay. Yeah.
If it was easy to do, there's so many prep guys, everybody be prepping themselves. I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah.
We're not at a loss of prep guys.
I'll tell you, you remember me, 2017, I basically competed the entire season, and you remember my situation, man. I did the first one myself, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to jump in, and I think I'm good enough. It was like 2 months early, and I wasn't, I did, like, I looked okay, but it was not like, at the end of the day, I was like ashamed of it. You know what I mean? Because like, okay is not even remotely good enough to be, acceptable in like our own minds. But, then after that, then Shelby helped me for the next one. And it's like, I needed that. You know what I mean? The following one, I did it on my own again, but it's like, he had already given me the blueprint, and I was like, oh, okay. I took the blueprint that he gave me, and I went from there, and I made some small adjustments, but I was still following like the basic same path. You know what I mean? Right. It's like, at that point I was ready, It's funny though, because also, the other thing you see a lot, Skip, is you see it's real easy to say I would have done things different. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like,
absolutely.
Someone comes in a little bit off. It's easy to critique that coach. Hell, I know I've been critiqued before. Somebody else says like, oh, well, I wouldn't. That's a big one. You know what I mean? Oh, you work with Skip Hill? Oh, well, if I was Skip, I wouldn't have done that. You know what I mean?
Hindsight is so,
right.
So it's just so easy that I'm not even surprised by it. And like I said, we all do it. I know how difficult it is because I've not ever worked with anybody, and I haven't had any real issues until last couple of years, but I've had a lot of them. And that's where sometimes I know myself, I was struggling to overcome the mental aspect of it. And my mistake was it's just work harder, do more.
Yeah.
And that works for a while, and then it doesn't.
Yeah. Wait, go into that a little bit more. What do you mean by it?
Well, if you're, you don't feel like you're lean enough, you can work harder and you can do more and you can train more volume and, you can train harder and you can train more intensely.
Take extra DNP.
And then you won't recover from that. So, yeah. And for the record, I didn't take DNP last year, so there's that. But it's not a situation where and then what happens is you're not, I don't want to say you're so far gone, but you end up in such a rut that it's difficult to pull yourself out of it. And then you have to, if you're in bad, then it can be an immune system. It can be a health situation, that sort of thing. So, it's just easy to do. You can, Yeah, it's that old. It's not necessarily old school, because even the young guys know they need to work hard, but there's balance there, and it's not always. Bodybuilding mentality is just more. When in doubt, do more. Whether it's gear, protein, carbs, cardio, training. Yeah, it's just everything. If you're in doubt, do another set. In doubt, eat more protein. In doubt, do another couple mil. And that's the way we look at it.
Yeah, I want to kind of take this in a little bit of a different direction, and I'm going to be really careful with this, because I don't mean this as a personal attack to anybody. I saw some pictures from one of the divisions. There were only 3 competitors in the class, and top 2 got their pro cards. And the person who was in 3rd place, honestly, like, had no business even competing in a national level show based off of their conditioning alone. And that's, and I say that not as, it's funny because, and I get it, but it could feel like a personal attack when we talk about someone's physique. I'm not meaning this to be disrespectful to the person at all. And that's why I'm not even going to like put the picture up or, point fingers. But there was, a competitor that I don't know whether this person didn't have any friends to tell them, like, you shouldn't do this, or what it was, but they ended up at nationals, which, I mean, we do talk a lot about, the oversaturation of, people that are able to qualify and go, which that's getting better now. I think they're making qualifications a little harder, but this person, I'm going to guess, won at a small show, and, probably shouldn't have won to begin with. I mean, what would happen though in a situation like this, where somebody was legitimately like no business being on stage? If there had only been one less competitor in that class, that person would have been up for a pro card. And then you guys saw the picture. I mean, we talked about this. What do you think about that, Skip?
You want to go first, Scott?
I think, why couldn't I ever got that lucky and there was no one in my class? But,
right.
I think it comes down to a couple of things. I like that kind of booty, so it looked all right to me. But I think it comes down to one is it has gotten a little tighter, but the ability to qualify for nationals. I mean, even a decade, 10 years ago, it sounds like a long time. It wasn't. It was a lot harder to national qualify, and I can just say in the state of Texas, I mean, the amount of shows that went to national qualifiers, it got saturated, and it's just not the point of physique sometimes too. It's the show. I mean, a hardcore meth head can't make it through those shows. It's like they're forever, and I understand why it's a business decision to make more money, but I think in the end, the picture that we saw, that's not uncommon. That's not the first time I think any of us have ever seen that happen, where someone's been at nationals. And I think back to probably 7 or 8 years ago when all those national level qualifiers opened up, and this was in men's bodybuilding. I mean, there was guys in there that didn't even look like they ever been to the gym. Okay. I mean, it was bad. And I'm not saying that to knock them. I'm just saying, and I put that on the organization that runs it. I mean, are you more worried about making more money, or are you worried about your people's perception of your sport and your organization and your competition? So I think there's got to be somewhere that they meet in the middle, that it's not so, there's not as many people qualifying. It's harder to qualify, and they can still be profitable, but put something on stage that's a good representation of of their organization of the sport, and find that happy medium. But unfortunately, I think it's more about money, and that's why.
Scott handled that well. He handled that well, didn't he?
Very good points, and that's why and I didn't mean to push it off, Scott, so I apologize for that. But I did want to see what he was going to say, because I didn't want to just jump in. I was going to counter a lot of what you had said, not because, and I like the way that you staged it, you didn't attack her personally or anything like that, but this isn't really about her.
No.
This is, and that's the point that I wanted to make, and I wanted to see if Scott was going to make that point too, because I didn't want to get long-winded about it like usual, but this is a process issue. Like, as an example, I think you said something, and it may not be verbatim, but that she didn't belong there. And my question would be, by whose standards? Well, by our standards as competitors and everything else, I completely agree. Yet here's the thing.
Okay.
I don't see the problem. Well, I see the problem that she needed to be in better condition. But I've always said, I mean, people get on stage and they're not in good condition, but they end up 16 deep or 20 deep, and all those people at the end have a 16th place title. Here's the problem. 3 fucking people showed up in that division. Where was everybody? Yeah. Where were the good physiques? This is Nationals. You know where they were? Not at fucking Nationals, because people wanted, but for a reason. They find it easier to go to these other pro qualifying shows than to go to Nationals. So they're going to the other shows almost on purpose, because they think that it's easier to get a pro card there, instead of going like they should, like we did in the old days, because we didn't have the opportunity. We had no choice. You stand on stage at Nationals, maybe USA's, because they gave away 1 fucking card at USA's, and you go to Nationals, you stand toe to toe. You fucking battle it out, and when the dust settles, the pros are the pros, and those who aren't, they come back the next year and the next year and forever, and maybe they never get a fucking pro card. That's not the process now. So if I'm gonna, and I understand you didn't blame her, don't get me wrong, but the thing is in a regular division, she'd have been 16 deep.
Sure.
Yeah, I would almost tend to think she was probably like, oh my fucking God. Not like, oh my God, I almost got a pro card, I'm so excited. It was probably like, oh my fucking God, like I just got destroyed, but I was 1 fucking place away from getting a pro card. You also don't know this, and you don't know this too. We don't. There are people who will get a pro card and not take it. I don't know that she would have not done that. I think the large majority of people would take it and say, look, if you wanted it, should have fucking showed up. Yeah. But we don't know that. There could have been a Dave Paul Sinell in there who went, you know what, I don't fucking want it. And I don't know why Dave didn't take it. Maybe he felt he didn't deserve it.
Dave never got one. Dave never was offered one.
Okay, then my information is bad. I thought he was, and he turned it down.
No. He tried and tried. He just was in a position. He was one of those guys that, like, by today's standards, he would have had like 30 pro cards. You know, I mean, I'm exaggerating, but by the standards at which he competed, no. Well, you could say Jose Raymond. Jose Raymond did that 4 times, or I think he took his pro card on his 4th attempt. You know,
yeah,
it was his fourth winning.
Done, I guess. Is my point. I used the poor example, and I apologize for that. I'm glad that you had that information, because
that way we don't get tore up
by the listeners. Like, you know what I mean? Like, really, like, oh, Skip fucking ill-informed. Oh my God.
And I have to deal with it for a week. I think
you get my point.
No, absolutely.
I just think it's more of a process issue. I don't, and I think you feel, the same way. I don't know. See, here's the thing when and Scott made a good point. Yes, it's about money, and it's about divisions and everything else. I mean, when push comes to shove, it's about money. I don't necessarily think that they're greedy. I think they're running a fucking business. And I do think that it provides for more competitive. I mean, look, we could talk about the divisions and everything else, and we could go on that for a 4-hour rant. But I like that there's other divisions there, because it brings more people into these shows, and just, you'd have to be older and just know what it was like to basically just have bodybuilding and everybody crammed into bodybuilding, and then some in female bodybuilding, and that's all there was. So I do like the progression, even though I'm old and a lot of us don't like change and everything should stay the same and get off my lawn and that sort of shit. I do like the change, for that matter, because it brings so many more people to the sport. I might bitch about some of them at some time, but I do like a lot of their. You've never heard me bitch too much about physique, because I like their physiques. I do like classic. I think classic I like more than open bodybuilding.
Really?
But I think that, yeah, I do. I do like classic more than I open, and I think that at the same time, classic is watered down open bodybuilding. I think it's a big reason that some of these pros, I'm just trying to be careful out of respect, because I don't want to sound disrespectful when I say this. I just think that classic and even it was physique to some degree, but classic physique has watered down that that the competition and a little bit of the pros, that the guys at the top are turning pro because they have these other divisions. It's not like all of a sudden people don't want to compete. They're competing in different divisions. Yeah. It's taking away from the caliber in open bodybuilding.
Well, I think I have a solution to something, because I like to think of solutions. So you have a class at Nationals that has a very limited amount of competitors, no matter what it is, okay? And so they have a set number per lineup that they'll allow in, or they would like to have per class. Let's just say it's 12, okay? So you only have 3 people that are coming to Nationals in a class, and so then you use an objective alternative system where you go back and you go to these national qualifiers, the big ones, and you have them to where, call them whatever you want to, your premium ones or whatever, and you pull from the person that was the one out from getting a pro card. Because, I mean, let's just take the first and second place competitors looked really good. Well, who did they beat? They might have beaten someone they barely beat, you know what I mean? That looked really good. And so it would bring them more money because they want to make money. And they go out and they reach out and they go, hey, we've only got 4 people for this class. You were a second place finisher at whatever national qualifier and didn't get a spot. Here's an invitation. But they have to pre-list those shows to keep it more objective and go in that line. And I think that way they have more people in the lineup. It would be more competitive. And you think about it, how many people miss making Nationals by 1 spot, but they look really good just because they ran into someone who looked really, really good. You know what I mean? Sure. So it would give more people to that, put more competitors in that lineup, and it would make it more challenging. And it would make them more money, and it would bring more fans, more family, whatever, and it would put more flavor into it. And then if you have someone who's in there kind of in a position that's probably not prepared for that position, you don't ever see them because they're, like Skip said, they're in 12th place or whatever. You know what I mean?
Why? But they can't do that. You know why?
Why not?
Because here's the thing. We're giving them shit. Think about how subjective this sport is. It's constantly fucking bitched, pissed, and moaned about for judging.
You pre-pick the shows.
No, I understand.
And you go right down the line. So you're the first one out. You're invited.
Feel the same way, because you might agree with me. It's so subjective anyway, and we bitch and complain about it, that they've made the qualifying and the pro cards about as fucking black and white as you can get. So when it comes, like, if you get somebody, if that girl would have turned pro, the NPC and IB were like, well, what the fuck? We have the policies. You could have showed up. It's out of our hands. They don't have to fucking deal with it. It's harder to complain about a system that's very black and white. So if you just if you're picking and choosing, you can't do that in a sport where everybody bitches and complains about picking and choosing and politics and everything else. It would be the same whining, complaining, just on a different level. I understand why they're doing it.
You'd have a black and white system to fill so many slots per class.
I still think it's not objective. I just disagree. I think it's.
How could it be? Say that class had 1 national qualifier in the biggest show in, let's say, whatever, Illinois, whatever. Let's pick a state, Florida. Okay, and then when they go to nationals and they have a lineup, and they're like, okay, we don't have enough competitors to fill this class out. But you have predetermined shows across the country, maybe 1 in every 6 of the biggest states with shows. And they picked the person that was runner-up outside of the national qualifier at that show. Like, let's say the Texas.
But how would they know how many competitors they have? I mean,
well, they're going to know when people sign up for the show.
But people are going to get ready for nationals. They're going to plan for nationals at least 6 months. They're going to know they're going to national.
But I'm saying they don't have it. If they don't have enough national qualifiers for that class, as soon as the last national show is up, they can go back and go, hey, you were the one person out from the qualifier. Would you like to come?
Here, okay. Maybe you're right. Maybe it works. Seems pretty complicated when if they just wanted to simplify it. How about don't give away so many fucking pro cards at other smaller shows?
That's not gonna happen.
And then you would, I know, that's what I'm saying. You wouldn't thin the field at what is supposed to be the most prestigious. Like, if you are a bad motherfucker, you want to get your pro card at nationals, I feel.
No, you got a good point. You know what you could do? Kind of what you're saying. So you limit the national qualifier. You don't, like, I mean, what does Texas have? Like 8 of them or something now? So you just limit it to 2 or 3 shows, and instead of taking the top 2, you take the top 4.
Wait a minute. Are you saying limit the national qualifier or limit the pro qualifier?
No, you limit the national qualifiers, like in the state, to like instead of having 8 national qualifier shows, you have 2
you
or
mean
3
pro qualifier shows.
National.
I know that's kind of what I'm thinking too.
Because there's a national qualifier would be like Florida has 30 of them every week.
Okay, well, I'm saying you limit the national qualifiers, but you give more spots out, so they maybe 1 through 5th, and that puts your competitors more into a tighter pyramid together.
Are you following this, Scott? Because I just don't follow.
The state of Michigan, we have not nearly as many shows as you do, Skip. But I do think that limiting the number of shows, because that's a problem in itself. I know, like Scott Stevenson was saying that, there's a show every weekend in Florida. In some cases, there's 2 shows in a weekend, and that you might only get several competitors that show up. I was at a couple of Michigan shows this year that, they had it loaded up with chairs in the back for all the competitors, and everything's all taped off with plastic. And then there's like a handful of people in the corner, and that's it. And the rest of it's just this long hall of all these empty chairs. And I'm like, fuck, it's scary when you look at it that way. Mm-hmm. So yeah, maybe if you limited the amount of national qualifiers, then everybody'd be forced to do the Michigan, to do Central States,
Is that what you're saying, Scott?
Yeah, but like he's saying, but in the national qualifiers, award more spots. Don't do like, okay, the number one, whoever gets first can go. Just put more opportunities in there in the bigger shows, and that way you condense your competition a little more. But I don't think it comes down to money again. And I don't think that's going to happen because, I haven't seen any shows we were talking some other time about some of these shows. There's just like nobody in them. The ones here, there's a lot of them here, but they're still pretty full. But this state has a lot of people too. So if you get in a state that has less people, obviously, I think they need to look at it and go, hey, let's say like Alabama, it's got a hell of a lot less people than Texas. So maybe we need to back off our national qualifiers and our show volume a little bit and get more people. Instead of having 6 shows where 4 of them are very competitive and full and 2 of them are just dives, we back off to 4 shows and to get them, get everybody condensed in. And that way you get the cream rises at the top more and you don't get people slipping through the system,
Right.
I could see that.
Because I think Florida does California have the most shows or Florida?
I don't know, but Florida's out of control. There's 3
Florida
different zones.
Yeah.
And the bitch is you can get to pretty much any zone. If I wanted to compete in zone 1, I just go to the fucking Florida State in Colorado. In Orlando. Where did Colorado come from? Anyway, in Orlando, I can go obviously, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. Even on the the West Coast, it would take me 3.5 hours to get over there, and I can compete in zone 2. It's crazy how many. And I've been to a couple shows, and I'm not gonna sit here and dog. They're working within their, with the parameters they're given, but it is. I'll just be honest and say that the shows I've seen in predominantly in Colorado, Michigan, even Chad Nichols shows in Kansas, it is the weakest turnout down here that I've seen, and I don't think the turnout is even all that great for the larger southern. I was disappointed by the southern states. It's not a bad show, and that's a Potter show. It's not a bad show. I'm not in any way saying, but I expected it to be on so much more of a grand scale with so many more competitors because it's such a long-standing, well-known show. And it was still a great show, don't get me wrong, but it still didn't have the amount of competitors I thought, because like he said, Scott Stevenson is not, I don't want to say lying, but he's not embellishing. When he says there's a show, sometimes there's a couple shows on the same weekend in different zones in Florida. There's a lot of them. It's crazy.
Hey, we were talking a little bit ago about the different divisions. Just out of curiosity, I started thinking. I looked up Lee Labrada, and it says no. This is just from a Google search. I don't know my stats. Like, I'm not John Hansen. But he says winning his first professional show at a ripped symmetrical body weight of 180 pounds. 180 pounds. Mm-hmm. And so at that time in bodybuilding, we were forced, because he was considered to be like an epic bodybuilder, right? People weren't like, oh, he's fucking small. You know what I mean?
No.
Like,
no, he was a top 5 Olympia competitor. He was a badass.
So the way that our brains worked as far as analyzing bodybuilding, we could take a guy that was 180 pounds and we could compare him to somebody who was much, much heavier. I just wonder, like, what would happen if the division, the classic physique division, didn't exist? Because I have to think that a guy that was 180 pounds and was going pro was either super, super, super short, or he's going to be in the classic, or he was going to be in the classic division. You know, one of the two. That it's like most likely a smaller. Because I think of like a guy like Terrence Ruffin. You know, he was one of my favorite classic guys. He's got such cool lines, such cool shape, and he's put on more muscle, but he's under 200 pounds. But I don't see why a guy like Terrence Ruffin can't compete in an open bodybuilding show. It's just that our frame has changed. You know what I mean? Our perspective on what a bodybuilding show has changed.
Yeah, it's changed, but I think this is a part of it too. There are 2 different types of physiques these days where that didn't happen back then. Lee Labrada was still getting beaten by, say, Lee Haney, who had a small waist. I'm not saying he was classic, but if you go into that open Olympia division there, where they were all competing against, with Gaspari, Barry DeMay, Lee Labrada, Paul Dillette, Lee Haney, who had the fucking biggest waist? Rich Gaspari. He was considered blocking. Lee
Priest had a small waist.
Lee Priest is another example too. He had gone top 10. You had Ron Love, Porter Cottrell. I mean, this is all in the late 80s, so I mean, I was a teenager. I remember it like it was fucking yesterday, but you didn't have big guts. So they weren't necessarily, it's not like Lee Haney, like I said, would be a classic bodybuilder.
Yeah.
But they were all still of similar frames. So it didn't look, you weren't putting Lee Labrada next to, say, Dave Palumbo and trying to judge them. And I just grabbed Dave because I was thinking of someone who was thicker midsection with a little bit of distension. I'm not picking on him because I think he had a great physique. Yeah. But clearly that's apples and oranges.
Sure. Well, I think symmetry played a bigger role back then.
Absolutely. You could even go so far as to say Dorian. I mean, you couldn't put Phil. What are you going to do with Phil Heath? And you put Phil Heath next to, which is difficult to do because it's 2 different eras, and I get that. Well, you could even go with somebody now. I mean, you put Phil Heath next to, you know, you just said Terrence Ruffin. I mean, they can't. It's apples and oranges. You can't compare it, and that's probably why the division came into play, because they're like what the fuck? Like, what do we continue to go this way and basically ostracize all these people? Because not only have people switched from open bodybuilding obviously to classic, but there are people coming into classic that never wanted an open bodybuilding look.
Sure,
at least from a pro standpoint, they don't want it.
Hey, I don't think Terrence is a guy who would want that. You know, he's I know he's happy to put on more muscle now, but like as of last year, he was like, no, I'm happy where I'm at. You know, I remember him saying that. I think he changed his mind after going to the Olympia, but because you know he's just like, yeah, I could use some more size, you know, upper body really, but yeah, I think you're right, man. There's a lot of guys who are like, it's hard for me to relate to that because I feel like from where I came from and I know where you guys came from, that like the more mass you could possibly put on was always better. You know what I mean?
Well,
like, sure.
I don't think guys manipulated their weight as why they didn't back in the era that Skip's talking about. They competed a little truer to their weight. And I mean, I think what's his name probably had one of the best physiques I thought. And that dude was massive, and he was competing at Flex Lewis. That dude was huge, and he was cutting
Flex
down
Wheeler?
to Flex Lewis.
Okay, so you're talking modern
British
day.
Guy.
Okay.
Yeah, he was cutting down. He was coming in the well, they've changed the weight on it a couple times. What was it, 202? The underclass.
Yeah.
And dude, that guy was as big as any of the open pros.
Yeah.
But the ability to manipulate your weight has come a long way too. And so guys, I think a lot of them, either they don't want to get as huge or they're able to, you know, bring their weight in, bring their physique in a lot tighter. I mean, it's obvious. You go back, I mean, Lee Haney was a great champion, but his conditioning compared to some of the guys now, I mean, it's really good, and his waist was small, but since the waist, the symmetry kind of fell out, it kind of took a back seat to everything else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's guys. I mean, Lee Haney's 5'11". He was what, about 235 probably when he competed.
True weight, probably 235, 240. Yeah. They would say he was closer to 250, 255. And, you know, they're like football players. They bullshit about how tall they are and their, their weight.
I've met him many times. I mean, he's about 5'11", and he and Dorian Yates are about the same height. And, you know, but if you look at the physiques, and their eras crossed a little bit, but they didn't, you know, and, you know, it's a different body. I mean, I can't, you know, I wasn't there with Arnold and Lou and all those guys in the days, but I doubt they were doing what people are doing today, cutting weight, and they were competing more at their true in-conditioned weight, you know. So a little different era.
I can see that. Well, hey, what do you guys say we take a quick break and come back and knock out some questions?
Mm-hmm.
And also, I will reveal to you the identity of the picture I posted at the Advices Radio page earlier today. We'll be right back.
And there was maybe 20 deep. I don't know.
We were on mute there. I just muted us that whole time. So let's try that again. I thought I was so slick doing the commercial thing. People didn't even know what I was talking about. But anyway, yeah, that was a picture of Skip. I'm going to put it back up again for anybody who didn't hear us talking about it. Yeah, I brought us back in, and then I muted our microphones all at once. So anyway, oh, and I just got your text, Skip. It finally came through for some reason about your internet speed.
You know why? Because I hardwired into the wall, which means I don't have a router and modem while I'm doing the podcast.
Oh, that's why.
I've been looking at my phone going, why won't my Instagram refresh?
All right. Well, hey, guys, welcome back to Blood, Sweat, and Gear with Skip Hill and S2H. I'm Scott McNally. We've got a bunch of questions that we are going to tackle. One thing I wanted to ask you guys about. So, old school GDA, RALA, or just ALA. We got like a bunch of attention about this supplement because Scott Stevenson, he mentioned it on the last episode of Muscle Minds, number 75. And is that a supplement that you guys have had any experience with, either back in the day or beyond? I know it's not popular nowadays. It's super cheap. And Scott was talking about people seeing some results with it. Skip, I know you're not a supplement guy. Have you messed with ALA at all?
Well, I have with ALA, but you said something about GBA or something else. I'm shifting because I'm hot. I'm on fire here.
GBA?
I know, right? If we're going to go GHB, then... No, but I don't know exactly what you said. I don't. What is the
ALA?
Yeah, if it's just ALA, obviously I don't. I don't know what Scott said specifically, but I mean, as far as helping with blood glucose and things like that, that's great. I don't consider ALA hugely. Hugely effective and stuff like that. I mean, it can work, in my opinion, to help blood glucose levels with carb meals and stuff like that, but I don't think a whole lot different than, say, to be honest with you, than to say apple cider vinegar. I mean,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of put it in the same class.
Okay.
Certainly wouldn't put it up there with, berberine and metformin and stuff like that. They're obviously stronger, but I don't know what else. I know there are other uses for it. There's other benefits from using it, but basically ALA is just for, like I said, it's controlling blood glucose levels so that your blood sugar levels are more controlled. Is about the best.
Okay.
Best
Yeah. I was just wondering if you guys had seen what you had personally seen, because Scott wasn't saying like, oh, this is the best thing there's been in supplements. He was just talking about how people had used it, the experiments that people were doing with the dosing. And then, he was saying that, guys would take it and then they would see how they look. Then they would eat a cheat meal or, a skip load. Of course, he didn't say skip load. Yep. And then they'd see,
why not? I don't know why not.
What their water retention looked like the next day, what their weight looked like, and then maybe do it again next week, but then change the dose. And then after that, I knew a lot of people that, like, we got a lot of messages, people that were like, oh yeah, I want to try this out. Cause it's funny because ALA, it's a supplement that I feel like we've heard of, we've known of for a long time, but you don't think about it because it's not popular. It's been like so out of circulation. It's kind of like I haven't thought about creatine in a long time. But then if you start talking about creatine, then you think like, I know you don't, Skip. But then the thought is like, well, why not throw it in? It's cheap. It's like never on my mind though, because it's not like a new hip thing. Like we think about berberine nowadays a lot. We think about,
but that's because it's effective. I mean, who thinks of HMB? I mean, sometimes I'll have a client who's saying, "Oh, yeah, I need HMB," and I'm kind of like, "Oh God, you're wasting your money there." I mean, and I don't mean that shitty. There are just some things, and they run their course, and they're touted as being so awesome, and we don't forget about the things that are effective. The
Fair
things
enough.
that are not very effective, you lose track of them because that's why. Nobody's lost track of tren, G8, testosterone, IGF.
You forget about tren. Yeah.
I mean, shit.
Yeah, I mean, if you had mentioned it, I would have never remembered even.
Okay.
Right.
And that's not saying he doesn't have a point. I mean, maybe it's a pure form. Maybe they've got something out new. Maybe they've done something different with it.
No.
There's no telling. But honestly, if you hadn't mentioned it, I never would have crossed my mind in my life again. That doesn't mean it doesn't work, and he does not onto something. It's just that there's a lot of things that wouldn't cross my mind again. So that would, it'd be like, I wouldn't forget about tren though.
Yeah, no, he wasn't saying anything, like, just to be clear, he wasn't saying like, oh, you guys should all know about ALA. He just happened to be talking about it, and because somebody had asked a question. He mentions it in his book, and Matt Marshall had asked the question what the difference was between our ALA versus just straight ALA. I forget the other isomer of ALA, but Scott just basically explained that, and then he just talked a little bit about what it can do, but that's about it. What were we going to say, Scott?
Well, I think sometimes too, and maybe Dr. Scott kind of something with this, or maybe not, I don't know, but a lot of times, like when a lot of supplements came out years ago, the dosing protocols were kind of weird with them. Like there's so little research that people said, oh, you can use this and it'll do this. Yeah. But maybe you were only taking like 1/100th of what you actually needed to take to make it work.
True.
So, or there could be a pure form of it. It could be coming from a different source, because a lot of these come from plants and stuff. So you never know. I mean, maybe someone's figured out a better way to utilize that supplement. So I don't know. I like I said, I would have never even thought of it unless you brought it up.
I think it's funny the debate that was going on for so long: ALA or RALA. Well, you know what? I mean, it was just, and it's like, how about throwing both in the fucking trash and just use some insulin? I don't know. Let's call it. Let's just be fucking honest. I mean, and I don't, like I said, I don't want to make it sound like it doesn't work. And just because I made the comparison to, I kind of put apple cider vinegar in with ALA. If I was forced to take one or the other because I had to control my blood sugar levels a little bit more, and those were the only two options I had, I would definitely take ALA over apple cider vinegar. I just want to. I didn't want anybody to think that I was saying that they're equally as effective, because ALA would be more effective than apple cider vinegar.
Well, unless you had a sore throat, and then you'd use the apple cider vinegar.
Yeah, I guess. And there's other benefits too of apple cider vinegar but I don't think we want to do a segment on apple cider vinegar. Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Skip, what was that you were talking about before the show? You mentioned GHB. And I know it's because you briefly said somebody was asking you about it, or several people were talking about it recently. How did that come back up?
I don't know. Primarily because of I think because of sleep, the effects that it has on sleep, REM and everything else, REM cycles and deep sleep and that sort of thing. I know I started looking into it more, and the bitches too is if you're older, you're going to remember that you used to be able to buy GHB off the fucking shelves at GNC.
Yeah, like when I was 14, I could have bought it. I saw it in the store. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was
and neither did I.
I thought it was like a growth hormone thing or something, Right,
exactly. And, at that time, I was young enough that I didn't really give a shit about sleep. I just figured I fucking sleep. What's the difference? I've never had insomnia. I've never had any real sleeping problems. I go to bed and I fall asleep in 5 minutes and I sleep like a normal person.
Which was probably better that we didn't buy it, like at 14 years old. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, did you imagine the pandemonium that could have happened with that? Yeah, I'll drink a cup of this shit.
You're dead.
I bought it.
Yeah. You did? You bought it?
Yeah, hell yeah. I liken the use of GHB for growth hormone releasing purposes to someone saying, I'm going to use meth as my fat burner.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of, I get that same correlation. It's like, you could say, yeah, people could use it if they have a non-addictive personality, but look, who are we talking about here?
Well,
bodybuilders.
I wouldn't use it. Now, I don't know how I would keep it away from my wife drinking it from the bottle straight. So there's that. She's the only person I think that would probably roofie herself, basically. And that's why GHB, I mean, I make that joke, but the truth is GHB really got a shitty negative, and I think it's why it's scheduled the way it is. Don't get caught with that shit. Like, if you even get caught with GBL in the state of Florida, it's a 15-year felony. They're with anything over a kilogram of like butanediol or something like that, GHB to make GBL to make GHB.
Yeah,
fucking bad. They're onto it. Like, you can't get GHB.
Yeah. Why would you make it? It converts in your stomach.
Because there are a lot of impurities. I mean, basically, you're talking about really, really bad shit.
GBL?
It's like paint thinner.
GBL is?
Like that.
GBL converts in your stomach, though.
Huh.
Butanediol. I mean, but anyway, I don't want to give away too much because I know how people are, and I figure if they're going to come onto it themselves and they're going to look, they're not going to do it because I gave them too much information. Yeah. The point is going back to what Scott was saying about who can take it or who can use it that doesn't have an addictive personality. I do have an addictive personality, but I'm not a rec drug guy. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do things, I'm not going to fucking take ecstasy, things like that.
But you should for the show one day as an experiment.
I know. And the part of the reason I'm not going to is I probably would like it and then not be able to.
Right.
Just don't start things like that I don't, because I find them difficult to quit. That's why I can't right now. I don't want to quit chewing and I need to. But anyway, I do want to use it because basically what it does is just to give, if anybody doesn't know about it, what the appeal is from a bodybuilding standpoint is, and this is the simplest way or the easiest, most rudimentary way to explain it. If you take what you would normally get in, say, 8 to 9 hours, we'll call it 8, but 8 to 9 hours of normal REM and deep sleep, taking a very, very small dose of GHB every night to the point where it doesn't even impact you like, I feel silly or I feel euphoric or anything like that.
Yeah.
It crams that same amount of REM sleep and deep sleep into about 4, maybe 5 hours. I mean, it's substantially. So basically, you're getting almost the exact same quality sleep in almost 50% of the time sleeping.
Huh.
It's huge. So it essentially, it was, and I don't know if, who knows this, maybe a lot of people know this and I just don't think they know, but it was basically a narcolepsy drug.
Really? I didn't know that.
It was used to be able to actually get people to fucking sleep, and because they couldn't stay asleep for a long time, it would make the quality of that shorter amount of sleep better. And then someone figured out, wait, if I take more than that, I can give it to this really hot chick who wants nothing to do with me. She'll pass out. I'll drag her out of the fucking bar and I'll fuck her. And then now you have, roofie, and it's the date rape drug. And that's why GHB, in my opinion, got such a bad rap and why it's scheduled the way it is. Not because you can get drunk off it and everything else. I mean, think about it. The date rape drug was sold on the shelves of fucking GNC. Not just GNC. I don't want to pin down GNC and have them be pissed and go, wait a minute, it wasn't just us. No, it wasn't. It was every fucking shelf you could possibly. And then when they made it illegal, it was grandfathered basically that if you still had a large cachet of what it took, either GBL or butanediol, whatever they were using at that time, then you could still and there's stipulations and stuff that I'm not real clear on, but you could still maintain and have that. You weren't going to get caught or get into trouble if you still had a supply of this stuff. So it's kind of tricky how it went. But the point being is it went from just buying it in the fucking store to good luck finding it, because if you're even in possession of it, you don't want to get caught with that shit. You're better off getting caught with a goddamn firearm without a CC carry conceal than you are with something like that. And even in the more pro drug era that we are now, it's a relatively antiquated and not used very much law in most states because they just don't see a lot of this drug anymore. So maybe you might get lucky and get slapped on the wrist, but if you don't,
I don't know, man. Yeah, because I feel like even being in bodybuilding, it's like I understand that there was a time that people used it kind of for like a pseudo supplement, but I think that anybody, like, you know what, like if you were to bring it up, we have Thanksgiving coming up, and if your whole family gathered together and you polled the family if they heard of GHB, I bet a lot of them have, and it hasn't been for bodybuilding reasons. Like, yeah, if you got caught with that, man, that would be terrifying. You would be charged basically with rape at that point, I'm sure, or something, whatever, conspiracy, something along those lines. Now, I remember Dave Palumbo, he used to podcast a lot with John Romano, and John was friends with Dan Duchesne. And I think, was it Dan that brought that to market? Am I wrong in saying this? No, he did Newbane.
I think Newbane for sure.
Newbane for sure.
But I think he did mess with it too. Yeah,
I'm sure. But what Dave was saying when they talked, because they talked about it a lot years back, and Dave was saying that the downfall was, as far as like GH release and all that goes, that it releases so much cortisol that it kind of counteracts, like it cancels out basically. Like the added GH isn't going to be beneficial because you have so many stress hormones that are also released from its use. So I don't know. I never touched it. I never used it once.
Right. The only people I ever knew that did it always had an 8-ball with it so they could stay awake.
Exactly. That's the thing. Anybody you talk to, you could talk about the benefits of it and everything else. But point, Scott, you're absolutely right. If you have 100 people that would use it, 2 of them were doing it for better sleep. The other ones were doing it so they could fucking get wasted like they were drunk, and then not have to deal with the calories of it. And you wake up the next day and you fucking don't feel anything. Well, you might not remember anything either, so there's that. Yeah. Because you black out if you have too much.
But sore the next day. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like you sat on a broomstick, maybe. I don't know. But
I think I told you guys the story about my training partner that used it. It's been a while. Do you guys remember that?
Oh, yeah.
GHB or the broomstick?
Is he the one that passed away?
Yeah, that was the guy.
Oh, I just made a broomstick story about a dead guy.
From a broomstick.
Okay, well, I am sorry because I didn't know that he had passed away. So.
Yeah, and I think it was due to his abusive lifestyle. But and I know I told it that, but maybe and I should tell you guys too. We have so many new, I got to say viewers. I'm used to saying you listeners because we've done audio podcasts for like 3 years now, and you guys did audio podcast for like 2 more years before that. But we have so many new viewers through the YouTube channel now, and they probably hadn't heard it. I'll make it very Scott waved. I'll make it really brief, but yeah, I knew someone and I didn't even know he was using it. He come into he was, I don't know what his deal was, but he took it day round. He'd come to the gym and train, and sometimes he seemed like he was just not as with it. Like sometimes we're having a conversation and I feel like fuck, he's not even there kind of feeling. Like
I forgot you told us. That's right.
Yeah,
that's
but
right.
he ended up I was getting ready for my first show, and I came in a 24-hour gym. He was a personal trainer there, plus he worked out there with me. And I'm like, hey, what's up, man? You know, and he's training a client, 7 a.m. I'm going to do my fasted cardio. And afterward, he goes and sits in the office, and I came in there, and he was like slurring his speech, and he started passing out. And the way he was talking, I thought legitimately, I was like, oh shit, he's having a seizure right now. Like, that's how my brain was working at the time. Like, I didn't even think this guy's using drugs. And I went out and I told, there was one other guy there who was another independent trainer. This is one of those 24-hour gyms. And so there was nobody who was actually on staff. There were just 2 trainers that like trained people out of this gym. And the other guy, he tells me, he's like, oh yeah, he was like, he uses GHB, and that's what's going on right now. And I was like, oh shit. And so I went to go back in the office, and I had locked myself. I shut the door behind me, and it locked. So he's in there, and there's like a glass window, and I'm looking at him, and he's passed out in there. And I'm thinking like, oh man, is he going to die or something, you know? And now I'm thinking to myself, like, he's passed out, he's slurring his speech. And so I went and back to
MCNALLY locks him in.
Right.
I'm trying not to make a joke here because it's not funny, but kinda. So I'm glad you said that. That part. It's not funny, but it's kind of funny. So I appreciate you saying that, Scott. Thank you.
So I went over
an executioner.
I go over to that trainer guy again. I'm like, hey, what should I do? I can't even remember that guy's name now. He was the first guy who ever called me out for being on gear too. This guy, this other trainer, he was kind of a dick. And I took my first cycle of D-ball, and he's training a client, and he looks at me one day and he goes, holy shit, did you get in your parents' medicine cabinet? That's all he said to me. He's like, did you get in the medicine cabinet? Something like that. Because I'm like up 20 pounds in 3 weeks, you know, having been natural before that. Anyway, he was like, yeah, he was like, I don't know. I was like, what should I do? I was like, he's in there passing out. I don't know if he's overdosing. And he was like, well, we should call 911. And so I don't know. And looking at it now, telling the story, I feel like, man, was he just like nodding out? And I shouldn't have. But then I just felt to myself like, man, what if he's dying, you know? And I walk away.
Yeah, you don't know.
And I walk away.
You can't know. So you did the right thing. But he probably just was nodding off. But like you say, you can't know. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. Your brain isn't going to go, he's on drugs.
Right. So
I would have thought, too, he's probably having a fucking see. What the hell's wrong with this guy? Stroke or something.
Yeah. So we called 911. And then they get there. They can't get in because it's a key club. You know, you have to have a
because you locked it. Yeah, because you locked the door. We got that part.
No. They can't get into the gym even because it's one of the. You got to have the swipe thing. It's a 24-hour place, and it's still only like 7:45.
You can open the door from the inside.
Yeah, any of these doors you can open, Scott.
So I walk over.
Hangman's noose going.
So I walk over and I let the guys in. I let the paramedics in, and they look at me and they're like, is it a bald guy? And I was like, yeah. Or they said, what's going on? And I said, this guy, he's passed out. And they were like, oh, bald guy? Kind of muscly? And I was like, yeah. You guys have been here before? Oh, no, I was like, you guys had to do this once before? And they're like, once? This is the 3rd time we've been here. Oh, shit. Yeah, so needless to say, he lost his job after that. And a couple years later, he did pass away. I think of, I don't want to speculate, but I believe it had to do with his liver. So I don't know if it was related to that.
I probably made this joke last time we brought it up, but basically he was down with GHB. But I couldn't, I know. And it was probably, but it was probably just fucking stupid the first time I said it than as it was right now when I said it the second time. So I'm after consistency, if nothing else.
All right, on to the questions.
Questions? What questions?
I don't know. You said we had questions.
We got a couple. We got a few. One of them being about Melanotan. No cat questions.
I'm going to take a nap.
I thought it was a cat question.
Melanotan. Does it work sublingual?
I'm just going to hold the mic here like a singer would because I think it looks cool.
Okay,
and does it make my my voice deeper too when I move closer?
Yeah, you're great. Answer the question.
Lexi, I'm taking my time. This is
we can only see like one of Skip's eyes now.
Oh, is that right? Sorry. Sublingual? No, it doesn't go sublingual. No.
What?
Is that? Is that a serious question?
Does he mean like subcutaneous? Because I imagine it would work subcutaneous, but sublingual. Because somebody else says I've heard you could use it nasally.
Well, okay. Well, shit.
Yeah.
Then the correct answer would be I don't know. But let's break this down real quick and try to be logical. Well, no. Listen. If you're going to take something orally, my argument was this last time we had the sublingual argument was that your argument was fucking stupid, and I was just saying that it could happen when you said it absolutely couldn't, and I was just saying at least it was possible.
This is a great time for your internet to go out.
Yeah, but I'm hardwired now, so it's not going to go out.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just, I mean, if you think about it, if it's not, okay, this is what I would think, and Scott, see if you agree, and if you don't, then great.
I don't agree.
I know, right? I would say that if it would, potentially, I guess it could go sublingually in theory, but I would tend to think that because digestion starts in the mouth, as soon as it's in your mouth, it would probably almost immediately start to break down and degrade the peptide very quickly. So if any got into your bloodstream, I would say it probably wouldn't be very much. But I can't honestly say I definitively know this answer. My next question would be, it's so effective to inject it subcutaneously that I don't understand what the benefit would be to do it. And a peptide is not, well, it's sublingual. Damn.
Do you use it? Do you use it sub-Q with your injections?
Oh, yeah.
Or okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't see any benefit. I can't imagine a benefit because it's such a small dose anyway.
Yeah.
That I don't see the benefit of doing it. You wouldn't, I don't think, get anything.
Huh.
Hey, Skip, why when you're talking sublingual do you take your fingers and go like this to your mouth?
No, what I'm doing is I'm sitting up in my chair because my back hurts and my knees. I got issues with my knees right now and they're getting achy. So I'm sitting up and that's making me, I'm not resting my hands. So I'm talking more with my hands.
Huh. There's companies out there that make it in a nasal spray.
That I could see, but in your, nasally, you don't have digestion starting in your fucking nose that could help to degrade. And I'm not trying to say that.
And I see it too. There's a liquid. It says sublingual Melanotan 2. Now I don't know whether this is a research company. Okay. So it's not like this is right.
But you would be able to see, I mean, here's the thing. If they're doing that,
yeah,
it would probably have to work. Because if you don't have a tan in 4 weeks,
yeah,
it doesn't work, your company isn't gonna make it very long because reviews aren't gonna be very good.
That's a good point.
I guess it's possible. I don't know that there's not something else with it. You wouldn't need anything else with it unless there would be something that would help it to not degrade. Maybe it would be like some sort of like syrupy solution. I don't know. I guess I don't know, and I'm trying to.
Would your tongue turn brown? Sublingual?
I don't know.
Listen.
It wouldn't be local, so it wouldn't have any. It's systemic, so no.
I've seen I know that it's popular in the UK. I've heard a lot of people outside of bodybuilding that are using Melanotan 2. Now, if there are like teenage girls that want to get their hands on this stuff, imagine the market for a sublingual or a nasal spray version, because you know what I mean? How many teenage girls are going to buy that versus inject it? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I'm going to put a warning on this, though. If it's popular in the UK, you better be careful, because they like to get stuff popular that doesn't work out real well for them sometimes. So
how's that?
What was the diet pill with the DNP in it everybody was croaking on?
Oh, I remember that.
In the UK. Remember that?
I do, actually.
There was a bunch of them. Yeah, you got to watch out for them UK people, man. They get popular into something. You better check it out first. No offense, UK people.
Yeah, I'm looking though. I see it a few different places. All right, let's see what other questions we have here. L-Carnitine for fat loss benefits, dosing, and or experience. Who wants to take this one first?
Go do 5 more minutes of cardio.
Well, Here's the thing, because we've talked about this a couple times. I'm not knocking the question. I think it's a good question, but basically, to sum up my response, I'm not sure that injectable carnitine works any better than the injected insulin that goes along with it pre-cardio. I have said that I don't know the difference. I'm not sure there is a difference, or that carnitine makes any difference at all, but the insulin does. That I've seen. And Chris Aceto, I found out too that Chris Aceto has similar, I don't know if he does anymore, but he did for quite a while, that he, one of the things he does sometimes with his clients is he has them do low dose cardio insulin as well. So when you're getting into carnitine, dosing is typically 300 to 400 milligram a day. It's pretty voluminous because it's 100 milligram per mil. So it's intramuscular. So basically daily prior to cardio, you're doing, 3 to 4 mil of even though it's kind of water-based and thin and it goes in relatively easy, that's a lot of fucking extra injects when you're just not sure if it's working very well.
You can do it sub-Q on spot locations. That's when it doesn't feel very good. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's high volume.
I can't say if it actually works other than it stings.
Right. It's pretty high volume though for a subcutaneous injection. I mean, 3 to 4 mil. So
yeah.
Yeah, trust me. I know somebody that looks like me that did that. Yeah.
Minus the glasses.
I got one
I wasn't quite as sexy.
I've got one for this might be an S2H question. Talking EGFR. I know when having labs done that EGFR levels can be off if hydration is a factor. I was wondering, if any, how does training, say 24 hours prior to your lab work, affect those results as well? Also, what other areas of labs could be potentially affected by training?
Okay, you have to define training. So most places that you're going to get labs done will tell you not to train 24 hours in advance. If you do you go just blast it. I mean, obviously the body's breaking down muscle, breaking down proteins. So yeah, you're going to get some numbers that can get kind of skewed. I would tell people if you want clean, as legitimate clean labs, I would not train at least 24 hours before. If you're going to just murder yourself, I would take at least 2 days before you got them done. If you go do some cardio or something, no. But if you go and you just crush some legs, yeah, you're going to have some numbers because your body's processing all that. You're breaking down proteins, muscles, everything, is getting moved through the bloodstream. So it's going to obviously alter your labs. But it's one of those things too where some people vary more than others, but it could also come down to how you train. Like I said, if you're really getting after it, yeah, I would say 2 days at least take off before you get labs.
And what to look for? I mean, obviously GFR will be impacted. That's
kidney
basically
numbers.
The overall, kidney function. But yeah, your creatinine and basically anything to do with your kidneys.
And your metabolic stuff. So, it could alter all those. But it depends. Like I said, you can get away with some training, and it's not that big of a deal. But I'd see even your average MD doctor, if you looked at your labs and you had those metabolic panels were off, and you said, hey, I crushed it at the gym yesterday, before I got the labs, they'd probably go, okay, they'd even get that. So, it's along with high protein intake, really high protein intake prior. That's why they want you fasted when you take labs. So you don't have, high protein, different, food intakes and stuff. Hydration, though, is another thing. All those numbers can be skewed with dehydration.
Well, and I think too, just so that people understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, Scott, but this is how I look at a GFR number. I don't know if you feel the same way or not. Basically, it's a representation of total kidney health. If it's low, you don't really know why until you start to get into the kidney values and start to get some idea of what is not going all that well. And even then, you may not know from basic, kidney or kidney renal, testing, blood testing. So GFR, I mean, if you see a relatively low GFR, you go, oh shit, that's kind of low. You still aren't going to be able to look at that GFR number. It's a blanket number. It's just telling you that something isn't very, something might not be right here, but it's not going to tell you specifically or give you much of an idea of what's wrong until you start looking into those other values and those other numbers. Is that a better way? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things in there because you're basically talking about a filtering processing station in your body. So, if you're introducing foods, a lot of high protein meals, you're training hard, which is breaking down muscle, which is, blood proteins, and they're all passing through there. While you get a lab, it's going to be altered. So you need to, I'm like any kind of lab. Obviously, if you want to get your levels tested and you're on a bunch of stuff and you want to know where you're at, yeah, you want to take it then, but you want to have as little amount of external influence on those labs as possible. So, yeah, go fasted, be hydrated. Don't train like an animal the day before. Don't go do like 500 sets of squats the night before and then go get your labs done. So, but yeah, it's, most people, the labs they get are like so basic, it's okay. I'm going to give you an example. I've looked at a lot of labs, and I'm not saying I'm the expert, but I know I'm pretty decent. I get a lot of people send me like a THS number. Okay, that's telling me pretty much nothing. Other than if it's low, yeah, there might be some thyroid issues. But you got to there's a lot of other factors. That it's like a total test number. Okay, great. Total test means pretty much nothing to me. I want to know what free testosterone is, estradiol, all this other stuff, so you can kind of see how it's all working into play. So, if you're going to get labs, I say go get as deep a panels as you can get and get as much information together. If you don't really know how to put that together, then get somebody that knows what, can look at them and go, hey, this is why you're here. This is why you're there. Not just total tests, the basic, I call them like the basic 9,
Right.
The basic 9 don't really they just give you a general overview. They don't really give you any answers.
And to the listeners, I just want to point out that he did mean TSH.
What did I say?
THS. I was kind of what the fuck is he talking about? But obviously it was a slip. You knew, you know what you're talking about.
It's kind of like, okay, I'm looking at some of these labs recently that's doing a process of wanting to have a kid. So the initial labs they didn't tell me much, and then the person's on a program to revitalize their function. But then when the labs got a little more detailed, it was like, okay, LH, FSH, all this stuff was just dead, bottomed out. So that just tells me that the exogenous use, even though it had been 3 or 4 weeks, had not cleared the system.
Right.
The system wasn't ready to even with the exogenous use of some other program that it was just through a doctor, was not working yet. So sometimes it takes longer, but just by looking at those big baseline markers, it would tell somebody. If somebody would say, okay, well, it must be working. Well, no, but when you got deeper in and got the other markers in there, you could realize that the program that he was starting on had not gone into play yet.
Just take a lot of Clomid, drown that cervix in fluid, and you're good.
I don't like Clomid. I don't care for it.
We actually have a handful more here. Next one, which I don't think we covered this. I think I missed this last time, was Yohimbine dosing, Yohimbine HCl. What's the recommended dose per day? Should it be split up or taken all at once? Thanks in advance. So I guess first question I'd ask is, either you guys, is this a supplement that you would recommend for fat loss?
I don't, but I think Skip likes it better than I do, right?
I'll tell you what, I didn't for years and years and years. I'm still not in love with it, but I will tell you that I've seen pretty good results for kind of in the older demographic. I've heard it explained, brown fat and everything else, and I'm going to be honest with you, and I don't want to, anybody go, oh my God, he doesn't believe that? That's so basic. I don't believe in this brown fat bullshit and different impacting. I don't buy that, but I will tell you, I don't know that I buy that. Let's put it that way. But I do know that I have seen Yohimbine work in the older demographic, because it did for me, and I've taken it before a couple times, and I saw nothing. The other thing that people need to understand, too, is dose you know, there are kind of guidelines based on weight, and that's great and everything, but you have to really be careful with it, because as innocuous as it is as far as an over-the-counter, you know, fat burner, some people at very low doses cannot tolerate it well at all. It will make them sick as shit and just feel. I remember, yeah, my wife would give me a hard time because she could take 4, 5, 6 times over what I did. And I mean, I was whining like a fucking baby on 2.5 or 5 milligrams, and I felt like death. And I told her when I know it's the Yohimbine, and if this is what it takes, I'm fucking not taking this shit. I'd rather be. I thought my stomach.
Wrap it up again.
I'm pretty hungry, but I don't. That's kind of loud. I don't know what the dosing protocol is. I usually start it and deal with 5 milligram increments. Obviously, once a day first to see if there's some kind of tolerance. Then go to twice a day. This is just mine. In a typical dosing, it may be different if someone is significantly bigger. So, but 5 milligrams, moving to 5 milligrams twice a day, and then from there I can build. I don't rarely take Yohimbine dosing over, say, 30 milligrams a day, 15 and 15. Does it need to be split up? I think it probably needs to be split up because I don't know how well anybody can tolerate the bigger doses at once. But I can't kick out the half-life of what it is. I would assume being oral that it's relatively short, but that's an assumption that I'm not sure is correct.
Maybe that's Mrs. Skip's GHB remedy, but your Yohimbine.
Balance it out.
Yeah.
We had one about intra workouts. Scroll back up to the top here. Look at our list. Let's see. Okay.
Intro. Oh,
yeah. If you had to make your, we have actually 2 of them. So we had one about intra workouts and one about pre-workouts. Max Holiday asks, if you had to make your own pre-workout supplement, what must-have ingredients would that consist of? Also, if any additional items, let's just throw that in there for fun, what would those be as well? This is a fun question. I like this.
Yeah, I like it.
I've been making my own intra workouts or my own pre-workouts lately.
Yeah, me too.
What's in your cocktail?
Pre-workout?
Yeah.
Monster.
Yeah.
I'm not a pre-workout guy, so
That's
I figured
right.
that would be pretty easy to do.
I was surprised when you were like, oh yeah, me too. I'm like, oh, okay.
No, right. Really? No shit. He's taking a supplement. He's holding out on us.
Yeah, yeah.
No, just a little caffeine.
How about you, Scott?
Enough Adderall unless you're going to cramp.
Okay, fair enough.
It actually works pretty good. I don't do that. I never was I did some intros during different programs, but I'm not a big. I don't like to intake a lot of stuff before training.
Okay.
I would do and it was more for a flavor thing, whatever BCA mix, and sometimes I'd run Skip hates waxy maize, but I used to like to use waxy maize with IGF-1 pre and intra, but I tolerated it good. I never got the craps from it, so.
I don't get the craps. I get the cramps.
Yeah, I'm not a big pre. Just a meal like an hour before.
Mm-hmm. I'm an intra. I mean, I'll do intra if I'm on IGF or insulin, but other than that, no, that's not true because I'll take EAAs anyway, but it's more an insurance than it is anything else. I don't know that. Yeah, I can't sit here and go, yeah, I've definitely been making really good gains because of the EAAs. It's an insurance supplement that's just in there. And I got to tell you, I give it to True Nutrition because this is the first time that I've had flavored EAAs.
Yeah.
They're fucking good.
They're delicious. They are.
Yeah, I wish I'd have done this sooner because I've gone through a lot of Mio trying to flavor that shit. And the smell. Even my cats are looking at me like, what the fuck is that? What's in that bag? Because they have such a heightened sense of smell. But I'm not I've never been and part of it too is without getting long-winded, I have nerve damage. So things like beta-alanine and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck no. Niacin and no, I can't do that because it just flat out hurts, man.
Yeah.
So I avoid things like that.
What Joe had that one I liked, and it didn't have a bunch of beta-alanine and niacin. I don't think it had it at all, but it had the what was that one called?
Was it the NO? The
No, it wasn't NO. It was a BC. It was a EAA.
Oh,
it was an essential like BCAA. I can't remember the name of it, but it had it was a lot of good ingredients. It didn't have all the crap in it because I don't like beta alanine either. It makes me get all flushy and niacin. I hate niacin. It just makes me want to feel like I look like I'm like that little redheaded girl from the cartoons.
It's like a sunburn or something.
I like it.
I don't need an NO. I don't need an NO product because I take Cialis daily anyway. So there's my.
That works, right? That works.
Yeah, I mean I take it anyway for high blood to lower my blood pressure.
What's your dosing on that?
About 150 milligrams a day.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's high, isn't it?
I don't want to.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I know. I laugh. I'm waiting for one of you to say something.
Hey, you take a Viagra for your workout.
Yeah, no,
I did that one time.
Yeah.
I learned my lesson.
I was
doing leg extensions, and it was like, bing, bing, bing.
Viagra is too, and that's why I like Cialis because it's just long. It's more of a time release. It's a longer half life where Viagra is just kind of in and out.
Different drug.
It's kind of yeah, pretty much. But it's and it's funny too because when I order, I don't want to give it away, but sometimes I've gotten free Viagra and they're like 100 milligram, like they'll throw in 4 or 5. I'm like, who is gonna take 100 milligrams? Like you'd have to be
really busy.
You got to take a T-Rex to take 100 milligrams of Viagra and think
you got a lot of shit to do.
Yeah, you're going to the hospital on that. My wife wouldn't let me out the fucking house to go to the hospital. She's like, your ass ain't going nowhere. You're just going to have to deal with the pain.
One of these?
Right. I don't know. No, they're fucking bigger than that. They look like the size of your thumb.
That's 100 milligrams.
I don't even think you take it orally. I think you have to it's like a suppository.
No, that's 100. Right there. It's for a friend of mine. It's like a giant
plant seed. You just put it in there, and then with a little bit of water, and it just kind of.
All right. Yeah. So here's my pre-workout. I'll do 8 grams citrulline malate. Oh, Betsy, my dog came to visit. 8 grams of citrulline malate. I've been experimenting with beta alanine. I know you guys don't like it. Come here, Bets. Come and say hi to the guys. Come here. Oh, here we go.
Oh my God!
We got Betsy on the. Betsy's on the show.
Any chance she could meow? Have you taught her how to?
She never knew how to meow.
It's a dog. I like dogs.
I gotta get back.
It's a dog, but if he meowed, then
is it a boxer?
She's a American Bulldog pit mix.
Well, she's very pretty.
Well, thank you for it. That's a lot coming from you, Skip.
No, I like I said, I am not anti-dog. She is very pretty. I just am pro-cat.
So they say like all the pre-workouts, they all have 3 grams of beta alanine, and I got a bag. I bought a bag from True Nutrition for like $25. It's like a pound, something like that. It's a big bag, and the scooper for that thing, it's like a little tiny scooper. It's literally a lifetime supply of beta alanine. Mm-hmm. So I've experimented with it. I've been like throw 1 scoop in there. I can throw 2 scoops in there. I've gone up to 12 grams of beta alanine pre-workout. And I don't see a difference really between like 12 and 6.
Your blood's fucked up.
Well, you're not to 25 yet. So yeah. I would just say keep going. Matter of fact, don't use a little. Use like a half cup measure.
Yeah.
Go to the kitchen cupboard and get a half cup measure.
Have you ever made like popsicles out of that stuff? Make frozen popsicles with some of that. What's that stuff? That little flavor mix stuff. The little citrus stuff, and make popsicles on the way to work out. You could chew on your popsicle.
Be like, I'm getting really flushed. I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm getting fucking yoked, baby.
That's a lot of beta alanine.
But I found I like 6 grams, which is twice as much as you get in a pre-workout. And then you know what? If I can throw a nootropic in there, like, and this is not just a plug them, but Bodybuilding Nerds Radio is sponsored by Azoth. They've got a great nootropic product, which is basically like everything you need for nootropics, but you can also get that stuff individually if you find out the nootropics you like. Like I like Huperzine A a lot, so I'll use that, or Alpha GPC. I like those. Like he said, the things that you would throw in on top of it, like just for fun. I really like nootropics just for fun because I do like the focused thing. I like that a lot. So I'd like to throw some nootropics in there.
You can actually feel these.
Oh yeah, there's no question in my mind. Yeah. If I use like and this isn't like just like I'm not plugging Azoth, but it's like when I take that, I get good focus. It's like I'll get into something and I'll just like stick with it. Like if we started texting and I took my Azoth a half hour ago, I'll be texting you for like the next 2 hours. You know what I mean? It's just like
send me a bunch of free stuff and let me be the judge of this.
Well, here's the thing. You take a lot of you may or may not. You have a prescription.
Nothing.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll
just leave it at that.
You take too much other shit is basically. You wouldn't notice the nootropics because you got too many drugs running through your system.
I mean, I think you should send me 50 or 60 bottles and I'll try it.
Yeah, exactly.
with 75 grains of beta-alanine with it in my popsicle.
Yeah, right.
But I really like I like the pump stuff, a little bit of caffeine, and then a nootropic, and boom, I'm set to go. So I'll leave it at that. True Nutrition is our sponsor. Check them out. They're great too if you want to make your own stuff because you can mix your own ratios in and not have to worry. Because I've gotten supplements, like there was this product called Irate, and I bought it because it has DMA in it, but it has 75 milligrams of DMA versus Jacked had like 25. They have products that have like 100.
75?
Yeah, 75.
So hence the name.
Right. So, I mean, you can cut that in half and you get a half a scoop, but then you also get half as much citrulline and half as much beta-alanine and half as much caffeine. So I may do something like that, but then I'll boost up my doses, other ways. Matt Marshall mentions NoPep. I don't like NoPep. It gives me a headache.
This explains why when I get text messages from you that are really long, you have had your Azoth and your 85 milligrams of DMA and everything.
He's Possibly. Just texting his ass off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had another one kind of related asking about intra workouts. What do you guys think about intra workouts? He mentioned EAA and citrulline malate. No, I'm sorry, EAA and highly branched cyclic dextrin. Anything else that you guys would add to an intra workout? I would add citrulline. I would split my citrulline up, so I'd do like 6 grams pre and another few grams, 4 grams intra. But that's what I. And then after that, my thought is don't add anything else because, and I think I mentioned this recently on Bodybuilding Nerds Radio. We end up, you think of the idea like, oh well, I'm going to start putting these nutrients into my workout, and I'm getting like this whole other meal, and then I'll add creatine to that, and then I'll add this to it, and this and this. And my thought is, and I think you would probably agree with this, Skip, you don't want your stomach, you don't want all the blood in your body to be going to your stomach while you train, right? So
yeah, I mean, you don't want any type of I call it a distraction. But the other thing is it'll become too concentrated as well. Mm-hmm. And if your solution is too concentrated and you don't have enough water, that shit is going to sit in your stomach, and then it takes even more of an effort for your body to digest that. So yeah, I think about these. I can't really get over. I'll use myself as an example. I can't really get over 50, maybe 60 grams of carbs and then with EAAs without literally having to drink over a gallon of water while I train, because it just sits in my fucking stomach.
But what kind of carb?
Pardon me?
What kind of carb are you using?
I use, it's the only supplement that I don't use from True Nutrition.
Oh, I asked you this the last episode, I think.
Yeah, it's carbolin, and the reason is because, and this is what Scott was alluding to earlier, I don't like waxy maize because it does not work well. Now, carbolin still has waxy maize, but it's a minor, like, third ingredient as a carb. It's potato and rice first. Is that it, or is that waxy? Is that carbolin?
No, this is highly branched cyclic dextrin.
From where?
True Nutrition.
True Nutrition.
The one that you don't use their carbolin.
Okay, there's no waxy in there.
No, 25 grams of highly branched cyclic dextrin, along with 3 grams of citrulline malate and essential amino acids.
Okay, they don't sell the highly. Run the acronym down for me. HCBD, whatever. HBCD. They don't sell that by itself.
They do,
right?
Yeah, okay. They do. Yeah,
they do. I have looked for it twice and couldn't find it. I probably should have asked them. If that's the case, I would do that. The only reason that I went to do, I mean, I have no other reason. I get all of my shit from them. It's the only thing that I have never gotten from them, because I thought that you couldn't get it by itself. It came with other shit, and that the other carbohydrate sources, basically carbohydrate powders, had too much waxy maize in them for me.
Yeah.
So I went with the carbon because it was basically high in potato and rice, and then it had some waxy in it.
Okay.
And that seemed to be okay. But once I start to try to get over 50 and 60 grams, I don't know if it's the waxy or if it's just the total concentration. It just does not work. It starts to get really heavy in my gut.
Yeah.
To the point where I don't want to drink more because it's in my fucking water. So I'm trying to go to the water fountain and just drink straight water. Fuck you, Scott. Seriously, fuck you. No, I understand. I'm talking with my hands, but that's really how I feel about it. If I can find that, I'll look when I get off. I'll find it then. If it's there for me to order just by itself, I'll be all over it.
You're not alone either. I work with a guy. Shout out Adrian if you're listening. He was using MPA muscle intrusion, which is from True Nutrition, and that's a highly branched cyclic dextrin and essential amino acids, a couple other things. But highly branched was the only carb that was in it. When Matt passed away, whatever they were doing with their deal, it's over, in that they're no longer making the MPA muscle intrusion. It's crazy, man. The last month, I didn't realize how many people were using it. I've literally gotten like 25 emails and texts and DMs from people who are like, hey, I got an email from True Nutrition that I can't order MPA muscle intrusion anymore. I didn't realize it was like that many people that listen to our shows were using it. That's why I switched. Like I said, I'm trying this out. This is the Mountain Dog version, the Perry MD. Anyway, though, one of my clients, we said, well, why don't we try Carbo Load, which is also from True Nutrition? And I'm sure you know that one, Skip. But
I don't know what's in it. But.
It's more like a waxy maize type powder, and he switched to that. And I mean, this dude. He's not a huge guy, but this guy's fucking hammering the carbs, and he can handle more. Like he's eating a lot of food, and we switched to this. It killed his appetite, like all around his training. Like he was like, we didn't know why at first, because I think he was only using 25 grams, and he's like, He's like, my appetite seemed a little bit lower this week, and then the next week he was like, my appetite's terrible. We cut it out. And he figured it out. That's what it was, man.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. And like I say, it's not necessarily that it's a bad supplement. That's not the point. And it clearly has nothing to do with True Nutrition. It's just waxy maize. And I've said, I think that for some people it bothers some more than others, because I still stand by the fact that I think it separates. It does not stay suspended. And the water will move away quicker out of the stomach, leaving the waxy maize powder. And I think that that's what causes the GI distress. I could be wrong, but that's my hypothesis. And I've felt that way honestly, I felt that way since I first tested it, before it was ever even a product.
No kidding.
And that was probably 10 years ago. So, but like I said, I'll be all over the other one. I think what happens too is there's a lot of, let's be fair. True Nutrition sells a lot of products.
They do, yeah.
And sometimes it's just difficult to find. I've used that website for I don't know how long, but I don't have to go hunting for supplements because I get a lot of the same things that I've always gotten. So when I go look for something, if I look for it a couple times and I don't see it, I just naturally assume it's not there. I don't assume that I'm retarded. And that's no offense. No, I don't want to offend retarded people who might be listening, but I'm saying if I can't find it, then
I assume you're retarded.
All right, exactly. And I just assume that it's not there after I've looked a couple times. So I missed it. If it's there, I missed it. And I feel like a dumbass because obviously I could be getting it with my protein and my EAAs. I could have got it in the last order that I got just 2 weeks ago.
Save money on shipping and stuff, right?
I'd have to go across. I actually have to go to the GNC store. And usually what happens is there's one on the shelf. So they have to send me 2 or 3. And they're this big. They're tiny little. The scoop is like, it's literally while the powder is in the jug, they have to drive this giant handle of the scoop in there, and in the scoop is all this powder. So once you pull it out, it doesn't really fit back into the jug.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The jug is half empty. It's kind of funny, but it's funny too because when I pull it out and I take the scoop and I put it in the funnel, you can just tell by the consistency. It's not like chalky. It rolls down the funnel without having to sit there and bang
waxy
on the
maize.
funnel. Yeah, I mean, no. I'm talking about the one that has less waxy, because waxy is basically like starch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is starch.
Well, right. But what I'm saying is, if you like just fucking take, well, I guess cornstarch, the more I think about it, you take it, you pour it doesn't move. But with this one, because it's potato rice and it was a smaller amount of waxy, I just pour it in the funnel, and it could take up 3/4 of the funnel, but it all is moving on its own. I don't have to touch it, wiggle it, bang it, flap.
If you put 55 scoops of beta alanine in it, it works good.
That's true. If you put
according to Scott the chemistry experiment McNally.
Yeah. 12 grams of anything would probably make it move, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
We've got one that the last question here is
last question.
It's more of it's almost a topic. Like, we could have probably opened the show with this topic. It's something that we've kind of talked about before, if not directly in one way or another. And also too, Matt Marshall guessed on the picture. I said, "Can you guess who this picture is?" And he said that picture has to be a young version of the man who would grow up to become a legend, the professor of pussy, Coach Cougar, Tomcat teacher.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So basically, he thought it was Scott.
Yeah.
The waxy maize champion.
Question being, what are the biggest mistakes you've seen competitors make in the off season?
I think that's an easy one.
Yeah.
That's the I'm bulking diet.
Yeah, I would.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm still.
I can eat 5 pizzas a day because I'm bulking.
Yeah, I'm
because
just.
I've made it. I've made it probably 12,000 times. Yeah.
I still have abs.
Yeah, I still have abs somewhere.
Yeah. Mistake. Yeah, I'm sure it's diet related and everything else. I mean, there are a ton of mistakes made, but I would say probably at the top of the list. If I had to reach just to say something different that might sound a little unique, I mean, when it comes to gear, I do think that you can survive on much less gear in your off season when you're in a caloric surplus than you can when you're dieting. But we all want to grow, so we're going to try to maximize as much as possible, stay within our health parameters and that sort of thing. But anytime you can cut back on your gear and you're still growing and progressing, people don't give the calories enough credit. I won't go so far as to say, calories and food are as anabolic as gear, because that's not fucking true. That's a bold-faced lie. But I understand the point that people are trying to make when they say that. It doesn't get enough credit. You can run far less gear when you're in a very large, especially a large, caloric surplus and grow very well. So,
I'm going to go on the opposite end of that too. There are some people that try to stay too lean.
Oh, that's a big one with Instagram nowadays. I've heard a lot of people talk about that in the last few years.
And when I post my topless pictures on Instagram, because I stay too lean. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it is. I mean, you got polar opposite. I mean, I think the endless dirty bulk justifications have kind of dropped off, but I think now we're on the other end maybe a little bit, where people just, they try to stay too lean, and they go, man, where are my gains?
Yeah.
I would be curious if we had the opportunity to talk to like a source that had been selling gear for like the last decade, to find out like how much Tren and Masteron is being sold today comparatively to like 10 years ago. Because I feel like there's a lot more cutting drugs being used year round nowadays than there ever used to be. Because people people want to stay looking good.
We have sources, I am sure, that listen to this podcast.
You think?
Well, I don't think I know, but
how do you know? Wait, how do you know?
Don't
answer that. Don't answer that.
I'm connected nationwide, but in the South, just respect it. Keep my name out your mouth. There's just a little TI for you. But no,
should I be cutting all this out of the show?
I'm sure Scott's very familiar with TI.
Who's TI? Is he a football player?
That'd be T.O. in your area, your neck of the woods. But anyway, there is, and I'm sure, I'll tell you, I don't know that they'd want to, obviously chime in, but I could probably go through a couple channels to see what they say, because I'd be interested. I think that's actually an interesting question. I'd like to know.
I bet you there's a lot more trend being sold.
What do you think without them answering it? Oh, you think there's, well, okay, so take it over, you said over 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so 10, it would say we go in 5-year increments, just because I would say that 10 years, there might be more. 5 years, that might have backed off a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? But I don't know. I'd be curious, too.
I think there's a, not that I would know anything about this kind of stuff, but, you know, I would think there's trends in everything.
Trend?
You know, trends.
What kind? Like Trend E?
Like trends. Like, okay, well,
Trend A's.
15 years ago, people ate D-ball like it was candy.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
You don't see that probably as much anymore, I would guess. Not that I know anything about this kind of stuff, but quote unquote. But yeah, I mean, I think the buffet line's gotten a lot bigger over the years. You know, the selections at the Golden Corral have increased. So I think that, but I still say what the label says may not be what it is anyway. So.
Well, and that's
not all the time, but
yeah.
I think more times than not. But
right.
I think the buffet, the information on the stuff is a lot more available with the internet and with forums. Maybe they're not as popular anymore, and so I think people have expanded their horizon a lot more. So I don't know if that's really a fair comparison to say 10 years ago, when the buffet line didn't have as many selections in it, or it wasn't talked about as much.
Right. So. And I would say, just to clarify, I think 5 years ago was probably when trend peaked. I would think that it's fallen a little bit, but maybe I'm wrong. I'd be curious to know. I will say I think that
Parabolic came on hard again. It was like bell bottoms, bro. It came out of nowhere. Like bell bottoms.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
People didn't know what that crap was, and all of a sudden, 5-6 years ago, it was like everybody wanted Parabolic, and you're like. All us old guys are like, that's nothing new. It's like the 57 Chevy. Exactly. You know, people are like Parabolic, you know. So.
What about and I wonder if you feel this way or not too, Skip, Scott, but I think I'm just talking to myself. I don't know why you guys are laughing.
Please don't ever call me Skip, all right?
I'm having a conversation with myself over here. All you guys need to listen.
I mean, Scott and I can make this mistake. Hey, Scott. Yeah.
Whenever you're done talking, I'm gonna
go ahead, Scott. I mean, Skip.
You guys are fucking.
He's so delusional. He's calling me by his own.
I had to put up with internet bullshit.
He's probably got a mirror in front of himself. Hey, Skip. All right, go ahead. Back to your question.
Now, anyway, what I'm wondering is, or at least how I feel is, I think that the generic growth hormone market is about the best it's ever been.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know. Because I was ready to just go like farm grade. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to finally go. And I spoke with a couple people that one person in particular that I have a lot of respect for, and insisted that first I try all 4 of the generics and then make my mind up after. And God damn, I mean, I'm so glad that I did, because I don't know that the farm grade growth right now is worth it. Now, that's me saying it without using it. I understand that. But I am saying cost to benefit, that generics are so much better than it. And I don't think, and I could be wrong, but I think the availability makes them far less likely to be fake and shit than the farm grade, because the money in faking growth is in the farm grade, because less people are familiar with it. It's easy to fake labeling and shit and everything else. And then the profit margin is so big.
Yep.
You know, they're not going to fake pens. I mean, I think that's harder to do.
No, they do. Yeah, they do. They fake the pens.
Okay.
And here's the deal. So Dave Crossland over in the UK was the one who informed me on this. So first of all, a lot of the UGL gear is not what it's supposed to be. So he works as an expert witness with the court system. So so this is kind of two points. One being, like, Scott, you were like, yeah, not everything is what they claim it to be. We talked about this extensively on the show. So if a source gets busted, they always try to claim that it was for personal use because it's legal over there in the UK. And that's where Crossland comes in, because he can differ. He usually works for the defense, but he also has worked for the prosecution. determining whether a particular cycle could have been for a batch of gear could be for personal use, or if it was more likely for sales. They also do labs on all this stuff. And his estimate out of all the lab work he's seen, he said 50% of gear is what underground gear in the UK is what they say it's supposed to be. We were looking at stuff on one of the previous episodes just a couple weeks ago where like everything that was supposed to have Masteron in it didn't. It was Tren instead. Mm-hmm. So there was it was nuts. But the other thing was, and we've talked about this on a couple of the shows.
50-50 is what you're saying.
Yeah. And
surprised it's that high.
So with the GH pens and all the farm grade stuff, the reason they fake it isn't to fool us as bodybuilders. It's to fool the pharmaceutical companies, because they could care less about like the amount of money it costs to make like a legitimate looking fake growth hormone kit, like farm grade stuff, is so astronomical. They're not trying to get one over on, you and me, who's going to buy 5 kits for a cycle. They're selling crates of that shit, and they're doing it at the pharmaceutical level, so that hospitals are getting that stuff.
Really?
We just happen to get a few kits, but it's the hospital that buys a crate of it.
You can go on Pfizer's website, and they have a you can scroll through there. They have a whole section of everything they found that's faked. It shows you.
Do they really?
In the pins, it shows you the lot numbers. Yeah, they have a whole section in their site of fake pins or or whatever. It's not just GH, but of drugs that have been faked and that they've caught.
Yeah,
I had no idea. Too. Yeah. I had no idea that there were fake drugs that would be given to people in the medical community.
Isn't that fucking mind-blowing?
It's totally. I can't. That floors me.
Yeah, but it makes sense. But it makes so much more sense than like trying to rip us off. You know what I mean?
They don't all come from. I mean, you've got like the Upjohns and the Pfizers in the United States that do their own. Clearly they're making
the fakes are coming from there. I mean,
I understand, but all I'm saying is why
on their site.
How do they get it? What fucking hospital pharmacies, legitimate pharmacies, are going to buy shit that isn't going to get? Why would you buy Upjohn? I don't even know if Upjohn fucking makes stuff anymore. But back in the day, Upjohn made testosterone. It was in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and it was lauded as excellent shit.
It's not made there.
Well, okay, I don't know where it's made, but I would assume that it's not made in China,
Malaysia.
Somewhere down.
All that shit is still fucking made overseas. I don't know about that.
Portugal is one of the biggest. Portugal is the #1 country that makes testosterone for all of them. And so you got to remember something. They're using when pharmacies buy prescription medication, they're not buying from Pfizer. They're not buying from Merck. They're buying from a supplier, a middle person. So
I don't even want to know. I'm not telling you what you're saying is shitty. I don't even want to fucking know that as someone who would have to go through the medical. I mean, that just blows my fucking mind. The amount of money involved with insurance and what you would have to pay, and you don't even know that the shit you're going to get is real. It's like saying I know my source would provide me good shit, but I don't know that I could get it from my insurance company. Oh my God. But I will tell you this. Go on Amazon, buy Llewellyn's kit, because it costs about $100. You can test all the shit you ever fucking get if you are a drug user. I'm not, but if you are, you can test everything to tell you whether you've got master on what you have. It's a very basic.
I don't think that kit can test everything, though.
No, but I'll tell you, it tests a lot of shit. It's well worth the $80 or $90 or $100 that you're paying for it, though. I've had a few clients tell me it has been. They're like, fucking A, this is a good investment. If you guys disagree.
No. I've seen results with it. We've seen, like on Bodybuilding Nerds, VJ tested, there was a company called D-Labs that we outed. This is years back. They were popular for a while. That they were selling fake shit, that he had even like Winstrol. Like they had Winstrol that didn't have Winstrol in it. So you're down low if you can't get your Winstrol right,
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that was like total sidebar. I don't even know how we got off on that. But yeah, so the GH isn't always real. But totally agree, man.
Skip. That's how it started.
Totally agree, though. There is some fucking awesome generics out there nowadays. This all goes back to the main topic, though, somehow, of being mistakes that people make during their off season.
You're so subtle. You're so subtle.
So since the generics are so good, Skip, should I just throw away all these like 30 Geno pens I got I was going to give you?
Nah, I'll take a look at it.
Take a look at him. S2H made him in his basement.
No, I get them. Mine are dude. My stuff's all prescribed. It's legit, dude. And it comes from the only place that actually gets everything from the manufacturer, the VA.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there's some guy who works for the mob who like put that crate in the back of the truck on the way to the VA. Like, I don't know. There's somebody. There's got to be a middleman in there somewhere. You know what I mean?
There's corruption and everything. Nice.
Oh yeah, I know. There was some dude. There was some dude. They sent a story out one time from the VA that they don't do any. They didn't do any pharmacy inventory. And so this pharmacy tech in some big VA hospital, he was shipping all the pain pills to his house. And he had shipped like 60,000 tabs to his house before he finally got caught.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and this is only in like a year.
Yeah.
I mean, so like everybody's, prescriptions just went to his house, I guess.
Right.
But there's been all sorts of. They were saying that they were talking about like the number of tablets they made of OxyContin was so much greater than the demand that they figured that the company was making it for illicit purposes because they were making like so much more. Like there's some shady shit going on out there. Mm-hmm. I mean, it almost sounds like conspiracy theories and stuff, but I've heard about it directly on the news in the past. In fact, I think there was a lawsuit that I think went through. Who makes OxyContin?
I don't know.
I don't even remember now. But there was a lawsuit that went through that they were convicted of. What was it? It was that they were telling doctors that it wasn't as addictive, like back when it first started coming out, that it was like a safer alternative to morphine, less addictive, stuff like that.
Yeah, I was watching one of those shows on like A&E or something, and they were in West Virginia, and they had like 2 pharmacies in a county that had like 4,000 people in it, and they had like 40,000 Oxy prescriptions written that year.
Is it in Florida?
County. Huh?
Is it in Florida?
It was in West Virginia.
Oh,
yeah, and because I think West Virginia has the highest rate of opioid overdoses from prescription pain pills. They actually have a plan. I was watching a show. They have a flight that went from West Virginia, from this town, to Florida, and they called it like the OxyContin Express or something. So
that was a movie.
Fly from there to Florida to the pill mills and line up and reload. And
what was that? What was that movie, Scott? I know because I saw it.
It was called the OxyContin Express.
Yeah,
that's what it was called.
Documentary. You can get on like YouTube, or you can get on Amazon Prime movies and pull up. It's like it's so blatant that it's almost mind-boggling how people got away with this for so long.
That's not what it was. It was on. It was the season. It was the season ending of Bosch.
I don't know what Bosch is.
Or the series Bosch on Prime Video.
I never heard of that.
It was just crazy. It was like, I mean, it was insane the amount of stuff was going on. But I mean, a lot of it they were just abusing the system. The system was ripe to be exposed.
I'm pretty sure I'm right. I'm not saying that what you're saying that wasn't a movie. What I'm saying is, in my head, what I was referring to, I think, is the series finale of Bosch, where they were flying and he was acting sick because he was gonna, and that's what they were doing. They were flying him and then busing him around to different places, lining up and making him get different prescriptions and pick up pills for.
Oh, yeah, it's a big racket. Literally this plane would leave out of West Virginia and it would be packed with just the mules, the runners. Mm-hmm. And they'd go down to Florida and they'd make their rounds for a whole day through like whatever high pain management places. And they had the cameras there. It was a documentary, and there would be a line around the corner down the street to get in these places. Mm-hmm. And they would hit all these places up, and then they'd get back on this OxyContin Express, they called it, and they'd fly back up there. And I think what was there was like some hillbilly mobster guy running it. He let him keep a certain amount for running down there, and then he'd sell the rest or whatever. Right. It was pretty bad.
Get this. I'm looking at a statistic right now. This is I don't even know, site's called Vox.com, and it says where was this? So between 2011 and 2012, drug overdose deaths appeared to level off around 41,500. I think this is in the U.S. Then dangerously illicit opioids, particularly illicit fentanyl, seeped into the black market, and overdoses skyrocketed in 2017 to 70,000. So we went from 41,000 to more dangerous illicit synthetic opioids to 41,000 to 70,000 in a matter of a few years.
And that's skewed to an extent because naloxone is highly available now. It's, that when you're OD'd on that stuff, it basically brings you back to life. Huh. So that stuff's real prevalent now. So I mean, part of one of those series I was watching is what you're seeing, even though you're seeing an increase, like you said, with fentanyl and stuff, is that number really is skewed. It's much higher. People are overdosing. It's just that they have they were showing in that series, they have heroin dealers who have naloxone on them.
Oh, shit.
So their customers have an OD. They give it to them because they want to keep them alive because they keep making money off of them.
Yeah. And they probably don't want a dead person in their house,
I don't think they care about that part.
I think it's bad for
it's in your neck woods there, McNally.
What's that?
Yeah, it was up around your area where they were at. But yeah, I mean, literally, it's so they were talking about how people, like when you said it leveled off in 2011-12, it really was a skewed number because that's when the naloxone was starting to get on the market, was out there and available for LE, EMTs and stuff. So they were saving a lot of people. So they were really a lot of people still ODing.
Well, they're saying, though, that the difference, it was the difference then, 41,000 to the 70,000 only 5 years later, was because there were new drugs like fentanyl that hit the market. So
that just tells me there's more people using them.
Oh.
Because I think they're still saving a lot of people with naloxone.
I see. I bet.
Here in this state, there's a lot of drug trafficking over the border, and I keep up with some of the stuff just out of curiosity. And the amount of fentanyl that they get is insane. That they catch, so there's no telling what's getting over here.
I've seen the TV shows. I can't remember what they said, but fentanyl was worth a kilo of fentanyl was worth so much more than a kilo of coke. Yeah.
Because that's why they
do
$1
million
the meth
or whatever.
It's little bitty packages now. What they used to have to haul truckloads of stuff to make millions off of, they can send over little bitty packages and make it, and they're masters at it. And unfortunately, the border here is one of their main 3 avenues into the U.S.
And that's your bodybuilding show, guys. Thanks a lot for watching.
Peace. So anyway, but yeah, I gotta go anyway here soon. The wife wants the computer back.
Take us out, Scott.
All right.
Take us out, baby.
Guys, if you haven't subscribed to Think Big Bodybuilding Media, hit the subscription button and keep up to date with everything that we have going on, as well as hit the notification bell to hear what's happening when it comes out. We're doing at least 3 podcasts a week, including Blood, Sweat, and Gear, which you're watching right now with Coach Skip Hill and S2H. Guys, you can go to teamskip.com to reach out to Skip. Of course, don't forget about our sponsor, True Nutrition. TrueNutrition.com. You can use our code ADVICES for some additional savings. You can buy yourself a tub of Perry MD. Actually, I just started using this, and I'll let you guys know what I think. I'll talk about that a little bit more on a future episode like Bodybuilding Nerds Radio. All right, guys, for another episode of Blood, Sweat, and Gear with Skip Hill and S2H, we are out of here. See you guys.
Out. Are we off live?
No.
Why, you got more drugs to take?
No, I was going to tell you this. So anyway.
We're still live.
We're still live. What the fuck?
See you guys.